Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Monday, January 26th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and Perlo in the house with you, and we are breaking down the Monday slate, which is a small one, and it got smaller with one of the games obviously postponed tonight, LA Columbus. So very short slate, but we're here to break it down. But we will start the show with some very important show-related breaking news.
This is breaking news from the Ice Guys.
It is our first of two Patreon-exclusive NHL live betcasts tonight at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Yes, indeed. We have two Patreon-exclusive live betcasts this week. Shorter betcasts. We will not be on for the entire night with these two that we're having this week, but we will be on starting at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time tonight, where we have three games, all starting simultaneously. Utah, Tampa Bay, New York Islanders, Philadelphia, and Boston, New York Rangers. So we will be on the air with you tonight at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern for our Patreon members only. So with that in mind, if you want to be part of this betcast tonight, make sure you get on board. There you see it on screen as always, just $10 per month. Patreon.com/IceGuys. And again, Patreon exclusive live betcast tonight. We're excited about it, and we're having another one later this week, and just as we did with this one, we will announce it the day of the betcast right here on the show. So tonight, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, a live betcast, $10 per month, patreon.com/IceGuys. We hope you can join us for it. You're right, it's not the most glamorous card. There's some issues when Utah Tampa Bay is the most glamorous game of the early card, and it is. That's a good game, actually. Utah's on a heater right now, playing really good hockey, and we know Tampa Bay's been one of the best teams of late in the NHL. But we'll get into Islanders Flyers. I actually like that game from a betting standpoint, and we'll get into obviously the Bruins and Rangers too as well in the early slate. We will be on until the early games are over. We'll be on from 7 p.m. Eastern until the last of the three early games conclude. And then we will sign off. There'll be shorter betcasts, these Patreon ones that we do exclusively, but we'll give you 3 good hours on a short slate. We have another short slate lined up later this week for the second betcast. And Alex, it's still going to be a lot of fun, and we hope our Patreon members are able to join us for it.
Absolutely. It's going to be a blast of a time, and it's perfect that Perlo is joining us, because once we're done, you guys can just funnel right on over to Perlo's channel and watch him get ready for the Tuesday card. So it kind of all works in symmetry. You'll be all here with us, but Perlo will probably be taking everybody through the late hours on tonight. Am I right, Perlo?
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, we'll be on tonight. It's as soon as whenever it's over. So, yeah, go to Rico and Perlo's House of Exotic Jaime's NHL Picks Frolic. Go look at it, subscribe up there. You can just go to my Twitter. You can find it there, Perlo's NHL POW for the game. So it's going to be a long and fun night. The good thing was, you said not a great card, but you know what? I think this could be a really good live betting card.
Yeah.
This for
I agree.
Yeah. So
no doubt, I think it could be. I agree too. I agree with that too. I think there's going to be some spots that become available for good live wagering purposes here tonight with the short Monday card. So again, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time tonight with the Patreon exclusive live betcast. 7 p.m. Eastern. You must be a Patreon member to not only watch the betcast, but to join us on the stream as well. It's very important, because someone said, "Well, can I at least watch? If I can't join if I'm not a Patreon member, but can I at least watch?" No, you have to be a Patreon member to watch as well. The betcast tonight as well. So again, just $10 per month. Again, patreon.com/IceGuys. All right, let's look back on Sunday in the NHL. Well, coming off just a combined insane Saturday, 21-5 it was, with sides and totals for Alex and I combined with Saturday. Naturally, the dip had to happen, right? And Sunday was kind of a hit or miss kind of day from a betting perspective overall. We did have Seattle, though. It's when one of your winners is Seattle. That always takes you by surprise. But Seattle with a nice 4-2. I just hated the spot for the New Jersey Devils, right? They had won every game of the road trip, the final game of the trip, going back home after this. I didn't think we would get their A game. We didn't get their A game. Seattle was able to get the job done there, 4-2 win over the New Jersey Devils. Colorado, I skipped Colorado, Toronto, the early game, 4-1 Avs, just very disappointing for Toronto. Another slow start. They get behind the 8 ball, down 2-0. They could never recover from that, and the Avs get a little redemption for having Toronto roll into Ball Arena just a couple of weeks ago and snapping that, what was it, a 17-game home win streak at the time for the Colorado Avalanche. Avs get a little redemption. Of course, the headlines after the game weren't so much the results on the ice, but the little flip the bird moment from William Nylander in the press box. I don't think it's a big deal. Like, I know there's people saying, oh, it's not professional, and then it's not a big deal to me. It is. Oh, the guy is hurt. He's watching his team get their ass handed to them. He's stuck up there in the infirmary with the other injury cripples there on the Leafs, Tanev and, all those other guys. He's, he's probably a little angry, upset, frustrated, and the camera just kept on William Nylander for like 2 minutes straight, it felt like. So, I think that's kind of what led to it. He apologized after and said, it was kind of a bad moment for me. Sorry to do that. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. I'm seeing shit where he should be suspended. He should be fined and all this stuff. And the Leafs should have some internal punishment for him. I mean, come on, people. Let's take it easy. And I'm not a William Nylander apologist. He's not someone I would go to war to defend by any stretch of the imagination, but we're really blowing that thing out of proportion in my mind. Is it the best look? No, but it's not the end of the world. In my opinion, I think it's just finding a way to just get all bent out of shape about something that's really minuscule at the end of the day. But again, the struggles continue for Toronto. They're now 0-4 on this homestand when it's all said and done. So it's been a rough homestand. Now, the problem, it's been a tough homestand, though, as far as opponents. I mean, you've had one good team after another on this homestand. Minnesota, Detroit, Vegas, Colorado. I mean, that's a real tough 4 games on the homestand. It's not going to get any easier, though. Guess who they got coming in to wrap up this homestand before they take to the road the Leafs? Yeah, Buffalo, one of the hottest teams going. It's not going to get any easier. So, like I said, tough times for the Leafs. And they, after all that run they put together to get themselves back into the playoff race, starting to fall out of it now. Again, 5 points out at the moment and needing to stop the bleeding. Speaking of stopping the bleeding, the Ottawa Senators did. Holy shit, 7-1, thumping over the Vegas Golden Knights. This was a complete and utter just no-show from the Vegas Golden Knights. They were terrible. They were listless. They had 9 shots halfway through the game. I get a feeling that they were a little bit hungover from the big Mitch Marner night in Toronto, his return, and they just had nothing, absolutely nothing in the tank. Vegas, terrible game, terrible clunker from them. Total egg laid in Ottawa yesterday, 7-1. Unfortunately, we both had the first period over as the best bet. That streak comes to an end. 12 straight first period overs when it's all said and done, and 7-1 for Ottawa there in that game. They turn it into I did have the full game over for half a unit compared to the 1 unit on the first period over, so I'm at least glad the full game over got there with the Vegas-Ottawa game, mostly thanks to Ottawa. But yeah, just a complete and utter debacle for the Vegas Golden Knights. Just a terrible effort. There's really no effort from them last night in that game. That's how bad they were. And they end up losing 7-1 to Ottawa. Pittsburgh hangs on to beat Vancouver 3-2. I mean, this Penguins team, they're second in their division right now. They're only trailing Carolina in the Metro. It's crazy what the Penguins are doing. And we thought they were going to be awful. They're going to be trading away at the deadline. And now here they are playing great. And Rich H mentioned this, and a great point that he raised in our group chat, saying Ben Kindle, Coquitlam, BC native, and he ended up scoring twice with family and friends in attendance. If I had known that, I would have been much more bullish on Ben Kindle goal prop yesterday. But yeah, he had family and friends in attendance. He gets 2 goals for the Penguins in that 3-2 win, and the losses continue to pile up for the Vancouver Canucks. You know, Skinner, who was in net yesterday. Stuart Skinner is 7-1 with like a 1.8 goals against and .930 save percentage in his last 8 starts. He's been great. He's been absolutely tremendous for Pittsburgh here last 8 games. So incredible job by him lately, and Pittsburgh as a team, incredible job. Florida, what a road trip for the Florida Panthers, man. terrific road trip for them. We talked about how big this road trip was. We had it circled, Winnipeg. And then, of course, they played, I'm trying to think Winnipeg, who did they play after that? I'm forgetting it. Chicago last night, but Minnesota. There we go. Minnesota, of course, on Saturday. Yeah, Minnesota as a big road trip. Winnipeg, Minnesota, Chicago, and they went 3-0 on that road trip. Very impressive. Now Florida right back in the mix again for a wild card spot and a 5-1 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks last night. God, my brain's frozen here for some reason, probably because it was
Florida.
But nevertheless, as far as this game goes, very disappointing. I agree with what Alex told me. Very disappointing from Chicago. You had the schedule in your favor. It was a back-to-back situation, and you just did not make the most of it. And you end up losing, obviously, 5-1 in that game to the Florida Panthers. Like I said, it was just a disheartening effort considering you had a Florida team, third road game in 4. They probably got in late from Minnesota, too, because that was a 9 Eastern, 8 Central start Saturday in Minnesota. So you probably got into Chicago even later. And for Chicago to just let that game just totally get away from them with a horrible third period, just not good. But give Florida credit. Great road trip for them. How about Tobias Bjornfoot? Holy mackerel, 2-goal game for him for the Florida Panthers, getting a great opportunity with some of the injuries, and he certainly had a great game for Florida there with that 5-1 victory in that one. And Anaheim, probably the player of the day in the NHL has to be our guy, Seneca. Yeah, I had to put some extra gusto into that today, singing that little jingle from Seneca Casino, of course, in Western New York. But Beckett, Seneca, have a game, kid. My goodness, hat trick, game-winning goal in overtime to get that hat trick, and a great comeback from Anaheim. I was worried about Anaheim because they were down 2-0. They looked dopey. This was a spot that I was a little leery of with Anaheim, but I still bet the Ducks because I said this is a cheap price and Calgary is terrible. Well, Calgary reverted back into their usual self there down the stretch, and Anaheim roars back, ends up tying at 3-3. 2 goals from Seneca. Kreider tied it 3-3, about 7 minutes left in the third, and then Seneca, Jackson Lacombe, nice assist on the goal to Seneca on the game winner, and a 4-3 overtime win for the Anaheim Ducks. Not to mention on his second goal, Granlund had a hell of a pass to him on that second goal for him in that game as well. And a great moment during the interview on Sportsnet. Gets the old shaving cream pie in the face from Lukas Dostal. And you should have seen the devilish, shit-eating grin on Dostal standing behind Seneca just as he was about to deliver that pie in the face. Like he knew what he was about to do, and he was relishing every moment of it. So that was hilarious. And he couldn't even continue the interview because the sting of the cream in his face was just so bad. Couldn't even finish the interview, but funny moment there for sure. And great night for Anaheim. And that's now what for them? Remember that? What a streaky bunch, right? They had lose streak, and now here's Anaheim. That's a thing of the past. And they now are on a 7-game win streak. Put to the test tonight, though. Tough spot, tough back-to-back. Edmonton got right the Saturday against Washington. That's a good game. Anaheim, Edmonton. We'll see how it plays out for the Ducks and if they can make it 8 in a row. But well done, Beckett Seneca. Hell of a night for the kid, getting the hat trick and leading the Ducks to yet another 7th consecutive win. Alex, your thoughts on Sunday?
We can start with that game because that's a fantastic game last night and leads into a fantastic setup tonight. You got the Ducks, like I said, on a 7-game win streak, now 1 point behind Edmonton, 3 points behind Vegas for the lead in the Pacific after, like I said, kind of looking like they were, maybe this is a team that was, kind of blew their steam a little bit early on in the year, but now they're playing loose. They're having fun, as you're seeing with, like you said, seeing moments like that. That's good for a team with like Anaheim because that's a young team that could really be caught up in the fact of saying, hey, here we are finally in a playoff race for the first time in ages as a franchise. And for most of us as a group, our first go around of playing this type of high level hockey. But to see them having fun and goofing around like that at the end of a great game for Beckett Seneca and Dostal, that's good to see. That you want to see that lightheartedness. That's the kind of energy that keeps you flowing during the dog days in the season. So good win, great comeback win for them, and good to see them having fun. Some things that weren't so fun. Ottawa, first period, overstreak coming to an end, and it pissed me off. I'm watching this game late in the first. It's 1-0. And Tim Stützle, with an incredible move where he gets Aiden Hill basically just prone bone, laying down in his stomach wide open net, and he doesn't shoot the puck. He tries to slam dunk it in, ends up hitting off of a defenseman's skate, and I knew right then, all right, well, there's the end of that run. But certainly did not see what was going to happen over the next 40 minutes after that. Just an absolute explosion of offense by Ottawa, a team that certainly needs it. You could tell they were emptying their frustration out over the last kind of couple of weeks in that game. It's been a lot of teams taking their frustration and scoring goals on them with their goaltending situation, their defense kind of slacking. So that's got to be a good moral boost for them. But a bad look for Vegas. It's a bad loss. And like I said, Vegas, we're going to have these spots now, especially when you start talking about weather impacting and now cancellations or things being moved around, teams sitting on tarmacs late. You're going to have these spots where teams are traveling ad nauseum, and they have nights where they just don't have legs. They just don't have it. It was just clear that Vegas did not have any energy left after the first 20 minutes of play. Ottawa kind of took it to them. You can say the same thing with Toronto. Now, Toronto, the spot where it's a little less forgivable being at home with an early start where you play more early games than your opponent, Colorado. But like I said, it was just all abs, all Brock Nelson right out of the gate, and Toronto never had their footing. And like I said, everybody who's getting all bent out of shape about William Nylander giving the finger, it's like, most people, if they had a camera pointed on them ad nauseum 3, 4, 5 times in a row, it's okay, he's sitting there watching the game. What do you expect him to do?
It's not great he did it, but I mean, if you see the context of it, they got the camera on him for like a minute straight.
That's what I'm saying, right?
And he's watching his team get their ass kicked, and he's up there, can't play. And he probably wants to play, and I think forgive him. I cut him some slack.
I cut him slack too. Yeah, anybody call for his suspension's insane.
That's a bunch of nonsense here and there.
No, it's crap. It's crap.
Fine.
Yeah, and watch him come back first game off of his injury and end up having a great night too. It wouldn't shock me one bit. And then he can give you a finger for something else. So, looking at that, then the Hawks game was just a shit show.
Yeah,
I mean, they were hanging around.
The Nylander thing. It's not that big of a deal to me, but anyway, yeah.
Hawks are hanging around, playing well. Got the very important goal late in that second period from Tyler Bertuzzi. Seemed like they could have some momentum and energy going into the locker room, tied 1-1. And it's just like they had, they were worried about their dinner plans or the weather or whatever the fuck. But they weren't thinking about hockey in that third period, and it showed. And like I said, Tobias Bornfoot, a guy who is usually known for his cardio and his defense, getting a couple of goals, first time scoring in 138 games, I believe I saw that. And then he ends up scoring not 1 but 2 goals. That's a bad loss for the Hawks. And like you said, this is not a playoff team. This was not supposed to be a playoff team, but you also have to learn from losses like that, and losses like that have to stop at some point. You can't afford to continue to have losses like that in the rest of the season, even if you are a tanking team. When you have a good team like Florida at home on the ropes, at least tied 40 minutes into a play where they weren't really showing much life and luster, you have to take advantage of that. You have to use your speed and skill to at least hang around in that game, not just lay an egg. And we've seen this too often from the Hawks, usually in the second period of games. But to see that in the third period of a winnable game at home, when you've already had 2 games that were very good, a great shootout win at Carolina, a tough but still admirable effort against Tampa Bay, taking them to a shootout at home the other night. You're supposed to continue that momentum over. So that was a very disappointing loss for the Hawks.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's and I said it to you, and I'll just reiterate it. It tells you that, look, the team's making nice strides. There's no doubt. This has been a fun season. They're fun to watch now, which they weren't last year, and there's a lot of positives. There's guys that are improving. There's guys that are making more of an impact and making the most of it. But at the end of the day, when it comes time to bear down and win big games, there's still ways to go. Lots of improvement to be made. They're not there yet as far as a legit playoff. I think they're going to end up falling short when it's all said and done. And like I said, that's where we're at. But they are making strides, but it's just that next step, that next level that they have to get to. They're not there yet, the Chicago Blackhawks. But they're fun to watch, and that's a good first step. Like, you don't dread, oh, geez, the Hawks here we go again, and just bad hockey, boring hockey, none of that. They are an enjoyable team to watch. But winning games and that next step to do so, you still need to take it. Yeah. He had a hat trick. He won the game last night for the Anaheim Ducks. So before we get Perlo's thoughts on this, we got to play the actual real thing. Let's hit it. There you go. You had to play the real jingle there. There you go. Beckett Seneca. Congratulations.
You do a good job in comparison.
I know, don't I
hitting
sound
that
like
note?
that?
That high
really
note.
do.
That's not an easy high note to hit. So.
Yeah. All right, Perlo, what do you think of what we saw Sunday?
I had a really good night, sides and totals wise. It was excellent. And I don't know. I didn't think I was in on an island as much as I was on that Ottawa game. That was my best bet on the show. I loved Ottawa yesterday. I just thought that was a terrible spot for Vegas. And Vegas is the type of team that loses in terrible spots a lot. I think there's character issues there. But I had people DMing me and stuff, and they talked about it on the show. I thought, what the hell? That's not normal. It was weird. But yeah, I was all over Ottawa yesterday. I think it was a tough spot for Vegas. And for the people that want Nylander to get fined by the league or something like that and all that stuff, all I got to say is, there, you can take that. So yeah, we'll move on. And I'm not, me, I've talked pretty shitty about Nylander as far as his defensive play and all that kind of stuff like that. But come on, guys.
Yeah, he's far from my favorite player. Yeah.
No, he's not. He's not my favorite player. But as far as Anaheim and what we're going to see with Buffalo, this is going to be interesting going on the stretch. I'd say that was a really big win because it's one thing to win when you are the underdog all the time and you're trying to, you have that motivation that you're trying to get better. It's a completely other thing to win, and championships teams become this or do this when you are now, everybody's on you. Everybody knows who you are now. You are now in that position, and you have that added anxiety to stay in that playoff spot. This is going to be a big step up for Anaheim here, and so it's cool to see them playing as well as they did. They did get outshot and stuff like that, but they just seem to have that passing skill to bail themselves out when they need to, and that's a sign of a good team. Like Tampa Bay is a lot like that, and Anaheim's showing that right now. And we'll see if they going down the stretch if they're able to overcome that added anxiety of being in a playoff spot and having that confidence. That little slip that they did, that's probably something to do with that. It's like once you get there, then sometimes the confidence can take a hit. Like you start to wonder, are we for real? Are we for real? You start wondering if you're for real. So let's hopefully they're able to do that. I had no goals first 5 and under 6.5 in that Florida-Chicago game. And Florida just kept on freaking scoring. I was like, come on, you're not going to do this to me. But
if anyone had the under, I hope they had 6, not 5.5. Because if they had 5.5, that's a rough beat. Holy shit.
Yeah, exactly. At least got the push out of it. I had Pittsburgh yesterday. I got a little bit because I know I was watching the show yesterday and you said one of these two teams or both of them, because it wasn't the best spot for Pittsburgh. But I wish I would have tailed your Seattle because I would have really had a good day. But I just think Pittsburgh is one of those teams right now that isn't going to fall in those spots. Like they've got something to prove. They were told all year that you're going to be the worst team in the league and all of that kind of stuff like that. And this team is playing as a team that has something to prove. And I don't know how many times I've been burnt by Sidney Crosby in his career and how he gets his teams going and there is no question to me right now when you look at Sidney Crosby, if he's not one of the top, maybe top 3 leaders of all time, at least. He's an incredible leader. And I should never bet against what he can do to get a team going. But I guess those are the main part. Oh, I had Colorado against Toronto for the same reason. Toronto coming off the big Marner game too, right? I just thought, and Colorado is in a get right spot. They've been kind of struggling a little bit, so I took Colorado in regulation in that.
Yeah, no doubt. Good stuff indeed. As I look at that, oh, my buddy Steve's in the chat. Good to see him. We were hanging out for UFC on Saturday, one of our group. Good to see him in the chat. Here we go, Lady Valeria. I think that's how I'm going to pronounce it. I hope that's right. But Pittsburgh's Brian Rust will have a hearing for an illegal check to the head against Vancouver's Brock Besser. Date and time to be determined. So there you go. And that was a bad elbow. Right at the end of the third period as time expired. And Besser was in significant pain with that. So like I said, might be some supplemental discipline coming for Brian Rust for that hit there against Brock Besser. So we'll have to see about that. But there is going to be a hearing, and often when there's a hearing, there's something coming down as far as supplemental discipline is concerned. All right, let's get into the Monday card. Again, lighter card with LA Columbus postponed due to the snowstorm. So we'll start with, this is actually, you can make a good case. This is one of the best games of the night. I'd say Anaheim Edmonton's pretty good too, but this is right up there. Utah, Tampa Bay minus 150, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. This is an interesting spot here because we've got Tampa Bay coming off. They haven't played since that 8-5 loss to Columbus. That was a tricky spot for the Lightning. I ended up betting Columbus. I probably should have bet them for a little bit more in that game. But again, I was a little leery of betting against Tampa, considering how well they played. I mean, they had won, 9-10, but they lost 8-5 to Columbus. That game was on Saturday night. Now they return home. And again, I will cite the fact that since January 3rd, which is right at the beginning of the month, the Tampa Bay Lightning have traveled to their next game after every game. There is not one game in the month of January where Tampa Bay has not had to travel to their next game, to their next opponent. At San Jose to start the month, home to Colorado for one game, and then a 5-game road trip, Philly, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Dallas, back home for one game against San Jose, and then back on the road for 2 against Chicago and Columbus. So that's been a lot. Now you're back home. So eventually all that travel is going to catch up to you a little bit, and it could here in this game. The injury situation is something to factor in, and it's a beyond stunning, beyond spectacular, quite honestly, that they have won this many games with Braden Point out. They had Kucherov missing games earlier this year. The kind of season they've had. They have had 3 starting defensemen out for a very long period of time, this Lightning team. And now Eric Chernak, game time decision tonight, which means they could be down 4 regular starting defensemen. McDonough, Lilleberg, Hedman are the 3 we've talked about for a long time now being out. But now Chernak's a game time decision tonight, which could be 4 starting defensemen, not to mention one of the players that's been called up to replace some of these defensemen. He's been added to the IR, Charles-Edouard Dastou for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They just put him on IR after the last game against Columbus. So this is a beyond riddled blue line right now for the Tampa Bay Lightning, especially if Eric Chernak can't go. Like with Lilleberg, McDonough, Hedman down, and Dastou now on IR, Charles-Edouard Dastou. If you had Chernak and he's not in tonight either, you're turning to, you got Moser and Radish, you got Declan Carlisle, you got Maxim Groshev, Max Crozier's going to draw in, and I think there's a chance that if Chernak doesn't go, because he's been called up from Syracuse, Simon Lundmark, very emergency situation, 25 years old, he would be called up here. Now, he's played 1 NHL game with the Lightning in the past, so this wouldn't be an NHL debut for Simon Lundmark, but like I said, this team is just, they're at the point where they're going to be starting to just bring in any guy off the street right now to play on the blue line. Hey, you want to play on a blue line for the Tampa Bay Lightning? And you just call them up and say, hey, you want to come in? So I like Utah here. I'm taking a shot. I like the way they're playing. Utah plus 130. All this travel for Tampa Bay, I don't like it. Obviously the cluster injuries on the blue line, I don't like it from Tampa Bay going into this game. This is a Utah Mammoth team that is playing some of their best hockey right now, 5-game win streak. And what I like about the win streak for Utah, some of them have come against good teams. They beat Toronto. They beat Dallas, a couple of these wins. Nashville, you got to consider Nashville a better win now because Nashville's played some good hockey of late. So like I said, I think, and the betting, and this is one of these instances where sometimes people don't recognize what's going on, and or the odds makers don't price what's going on correctly. The odds makers didn't price what's going on correctly because Tampa Bay was as high as a minus 170, minus 180 favorite initially. But boy, oh boy, whatever NHL bettors are out there, they've noticed because there's been big move to Utah, and it's all because of the injuries here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I do think the Mammoth are live here. I will take them plus 130, and I will also take the over by Fecta in this game because obviously when you're talking about this many defensemen out for both of these teams, or for Tampa rather, that's where it's going to be felt here as far as, their ability to defend, the ability to keep the puck out of the net. I know Tampa's had 5 of the last 6 games stay under the total, but it's going to eat away at you at some point when you're missing now 4, maybe 5 defensemen. If we assume that if you include Dust too, it could be 5 defensemen as well. But then Chernak's one of your elite shot blockers, physical stay-at-home defenseman, and if he doesn't go, that could really open the door for Utah offensively here. Utah's gone over, by the way, in 3 straight games, and they've been scoring. They've put in 16 goals in the last 3 games combined, this Utah team. So Utah and over by Fecta here for me in this one. Alex, what do you think here? Utah, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, where's Dan Boyle and Pavel Kubina when you need them? I mean, we're kind of getting for Tampa Bay at this
He
point.
played for the Lightning early in his career. Yeah,
it's getting bad for Tampa as far as keeping blue liners healthy, of course. But like I said, that there's a couple of plays that I like pregame, and of course we have the betcast tonight, so there's some things that I'll be looking at live. Pregame, I am all over Utah first goal, first period, plus 155. Grab that at FanDuel this morning, along with over at MGM. Team total flat 3 at plus 110. I think that's a great price. I also have that full game over at MGM. We still get a 6, like I said, 6.5 are popping up. So shop around if you like that over. But I think we see goals here, and that's not to say that Tampa Bay can't chip in offensively. Of course, I think they know having these issues on the blue line, they're going to have to be more aggressive on the offensive end. So I think that lends itself to the over as well. So over 6 is a play I like quite a bit. But as far as Utah goes, team total over 3. First goal, first period. Those are the looks I have a little bit more. I think we might have time in within the game to grab maybe potentially a better price on Utah. It wouldn't shock me if they go up 2-0 and Tampa kind of comes back and we could see Utah hover around the plus 160, 170 favorite of the betcast tonight.
Oh, geez. And I didn't even mention Gage Gonsalves. He's a game-time decision. He may not go. He's under the weather. He's got an illness. Yeah. So there's another one that may not suit up here for the Tampa Bay Lightning here tonight in this game. I do expect Vasilevsky and Vejmelka, although I don't think we've got confirmations yet on either one. By the way, there was one illness for him that he may not go, but he is good to go. He will play, and that's Lawson Krause. Lawson Krause will play for Utah. He was under the weather, but he will be good to go and will be in the lineup. And from all indications, he will be where he's been lately with Schmaltz and Keller on that top line, which means I think that's good value once again to look at Lawson Krause for a goal prop. And one I'll throw out there for Tampa Bay, Dominic James. He might be centering the second line tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning with some of these injuries, so keep an eye on that. There's probably value toward his props. Perlo, what do you think here? Mammoth Lightning.
Now, I got the Mammoth last night at plus 143. I liked it last night before I even knew who was going to be in the lineup. It's just a tough scheduling spot for Tampa. Utah's been playing. It's a value play. So I took it. I like that team total over 3 at plus 110. I actually didn't have that written down here, but I'm going to take that. And I do like the over because I agree. I think Tampa Bay is going to probably want to outscore Utah here. I don't think they're going to try to play all that defensive. It's probably going to be very back and forth. So I like the over quite a bit. And just a little side note here. Normally we don't take him on the road, but he missed his final. Of course, I make it my best bet. Hadn't had anything missed for 19 straight or whatever, and he misses. Sergachev overshots, but I'm actually going to take him on the road here, playing against his old team. I think he'll get 2 shots here after missing last time. So that's my prop for this game. But yeah, I like the over quite a bit, and I do like Utah.
There's a lot of Utah goal props I like. Carcone's one, and I'm taking 3 different Utah players that have had goals in back-to-back, 2 straight games. Lawson Krause is one, Clayton Keller's another, and JJ Paterka is another for the Utah Mammoth. He has scored in back-to-back games as well for Utah coming into tonight. All right, Islanders, Flyers. We've got Philly minus 120 home favorites, 6 the total in this game. Someone's saying Yamamoto for Utah. Let me see where he's at in the line. He's down on the 4th line as of now, so I'm not as in love with that as you are, but RSD 695. But like I said, he's capable, but down in the lineup, I like the other ones I mentioned a little bit more. This game, we saw it Saturday. It was a brutal spot. I wish I had been more bullish on Buffalo Saturday than I was. But nevertheless, they put the boots to the Islanders 5-0. I can't express enough how bad a spot it was for the Islanders on Saturday. 7-game road trip. We already saw them flop in that spot against St. Louis earlier in the season, coming home from a very long road trip of that similar length. And we saw it again Saturday against Buffalo, where they had a terrible first game there back home, 5-0. But then they had the bad the game got away from them. Buffalo opened it up in the third. Patrick Waugh gets pissed at his top line for not back checking, not playing hard defensively, and benched them for pretty much the entire third period, and specifically mentioned and singled out Matthew Barzal. But he was not happy with any of those guys on that line for the New York Islanders. So obviously wants better from them going into this game here tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. It is worth noting, too, that we've got an illness for Holmstrom, Simon Holmstrom for the Islanders. So he's a game-time decision for this game. But certainly, that Barzal and Duclair line, he was not happy with them at all for their lack of attention to detail defensively in that game. So we'll see how he fares or how they fare here tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. But as bad a spot as the Islanders were in Saturday, now they're in a bounce-back spot. Their coach just read them the riot act. They're off a horrible loss, and now they get Philly on a difficult spot, coming back from the 3-game West Coast swing, Vegas, Utah, Colorado, riding high because they won 2 of those 3 games against Vegas and Colorado. And now they come back home after that, where they've actually lost 3 of their last 4 as a home favorite, the Philadelphia Flyers. So I think it's a nice spot for the Islanders. My one concern is Philly's kind of owned them recently. That does concern me a little bit about the Flyers in this game, or the Islanders rather, is that Philly's beaten them 3 straight times. They've struggled with Philadelphia. They've struggled with the Flyers, but I'm looking past that. I think they bring it tonight. It's not a great Flyers spot home off the West Coast swing. So give me Islanders first goal, first period. Jump on this Philadelphia team. I think they will. So Islanders first goal, first period at plus money at FanDuel. It's a good bet, good situational bet. Give me Islanders first period money line, full game money line as well, plus 100. But I have to bet the draw too. I'm not convinced this goes to overtime, but when you see the history we've seen between these two teams, 3 straight games have gone past regulation. You have to, at the very least, sprinkle on the draw. So that is what I'm doing here in this game. Over series history between them, but I'm not betting an over in a game like this after a game where Patrick Waugh says, play defense. He's basically screaming at his top players to do that. And so I'm not convinced this is a good over spot, even though the recent history says there's been goals between these two teams. I expect the Islanders to be much more diligent, at the defensive end of the ice. And, of course, another thing that has me on the Islanders here is it is a goalie advantage. Sorokin's been great, and we know Ersson's been hit or miss, very inconsistent, and I don't fully trust him. And it is still Sam Ersson in net with Dan Vladar still on the IR. So we've got the Islanders in 3 different ways here. First goal, first period money line, full game money line, and I'm also on the draw. Alex, Islanders, Flyers.
Yeah, we got some of the similar looks with that. I like that first goal, first period look with the Isles. So definitely should expect some heat and some fire, especially when Waugh got in their asses a little bit. Also liking that draw as well, plus 316. I feel like we can, once again, liking the draw, we have a betcast night, we can wait for maybe a better price in game to grab with Islanders. Like I said, I don't think the Flyers are just going to go away. I don't see this being a 4-0, 4-1 kind of an Islanders game, even with, like I said, the better goalie being on the outside. I think the Flyers will have some punch, so I think we have time to grab even better price than just even money within the contest. Like I said, not really looking at that total. Do have a couple of players circled right now for a bargain bin in this contest, but I haven't fired on either one of them just yet, so I'll let you guys know what I have closer as we're talking about that later on.
We have some real bad off a win numbers lately for Philadelphia too. They are just 2-8 in their last 10 games after a win, and obviously they're coming off the win against Colorado on Friday night, 7-3. So they have not been good stringing wins together lately. Rick Tockett's club. What do you think here, Perlo? New York Islanders, Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, not only just coming off the road trip, it's an island game. They're back on the road right after this, too. Like, this is really, really bad spot.
So you're saying this is like Florida, San Jose, like from recently, the Bobrovsky-Nedeljkovic goalie scrap game. That was the exact same spot for Florida then that it is for Philly tonight.
Yeah, it's tough. This is a tough spot. The only thing you could take for the Islanders is they do have the Rangers back-to-back after this, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the look ahead that it normally would be because they suck so bad, right?
Yeah, that's about all I can get.
Really,
I like the Islanders.
Shitty Rangers team. I don't buy that.
Yeah, exactly. They're probably they know they're gonna spank the shit out of them. Islanders first period, first goal, first period. I got the same things. the money line full game. And I had Vladar over saves. Oddly enough, Arison at 22.5 is actually not that bad. I think the Island, I still think he could get that many saves. The Islanders have been throwing a lot of rubber out there. And because they got called out and he's got the freshest legs on the ice right now for the Islanders, I like Horvat over shots, 3.5 shots. I think he's going to be playing pretty balls out after coach. He's that kind of leader that he's going to take the lead here and play hard tonight. So I like Horvat.
Yeah, I mean that's handicapping 101, right? Players that get called out step up the next game after Patrick and Duclair and that whole line, but Duclair and Barzal especially. Like if you want to bet props on them, shots on goal, goal prop, assist prop makes sense. Those are the guys that have to make amends, for the porous effort they gave, at least in the eyes of the head coach on Saturday against Buffalo. So. Wouldn't argue with looking at those kind of props here in this game. There's a lot of props I do like in this game. The total I'm back and forth on because of the fact that, I don't like betting overs when a coach says, we need to play better defense. We need to back check. We need to do all these things better. That's why I'm not on the over. But I do see in our chat, Matt Robinson, he'll be with us again tomorrow, of course, on Tuesday. He does like over 5.5. And then the history does point to the over here. Like they've gone 4-3, 3 straight meetings. 4-3 has been the final score. All 3 of them going over 5.5. So from that standpoint, I totally get the argument for the over. I'm a little bit more unsettled with it when you hear a coach say we have to dig in defensively. That's definitely not an over quote coming from the mouth of Patrick Waugh on Saturday following the loss to Buffalo. But we'll see how it goes. Bobby Brink has scored in back-to-back games for the Flyers. So if I were to look at one Flyer prop for this game, it's probably going to be him and a good price as well. How about the fact that we mentioned it earlier, Denver Barkey scoring in Denver? Crazy. We said, watch it happen. And wouldn't you know it? It did. Yeah. Him scoring in Denver. Denver Barkey in Denver on Friday night against Colorado. All right, Boston and the New York Rangers. Boston -120 road favorite, 6.5 the total. So I am on Boston. I did lay the -115, -120 here with Boston. That being said, I don't feel this is the lock. Nothing's a lock anyway, but this isn't the slam dunk that people think it is with the Bruins tonight in this spot. And it is a bad spot for the Rangers. Like they're coming off the West Coast, and they're a terrible hockey team. So obviously Boston can win this game. I do think they'll win this game. But this was going to be initially best bet for the show for me, taking Boston, and that's not going to be the best bet because I do have a few reservations here when it comes to to this game. Boston has not been as good on the road as they've been at TD Garden. 19-8-1 at home, a losing 11-13 on the road for Boston. That does concern me. Their play away from TD Garden hasn't been great. But I guess you can counter that and say, well, the Rangers' play at home has been worse, and that's probably true. 5-17, the Rangers on home ice at Madison Square Garden this year, and they're coming off a 4-game road trip: Philly, Anaheim, LA, San Jose, which is not a good spot here for the Rangers. But Boston's also coming off a very satisfying couple of wins. Bruce Cassidy comes back to town with Vegas. They beat the Golden Knights 4-3, their former head coach, and then they beat their rival Montreal in a very important 2 points in the standings in the Atlantic Division, beating Montreal. I'm just a little worried about like a little emotional letdown coming off those two kind of games back at home against Vegas and Montreal. Not that it'll matter because the Rangers are that bad right now, but just a couple little things that bother me about just going, unloading, if you will, here on the Boston Bruins tonight. And the other thing, I almost forgot to mention it, they did lose 10-2 to the Boston Bruins the last time they faced them. If you've got any sort of pride as an athlete, you know that the last time you faced this Boston Bruins team, they embarrassed your ass. 10-2 the last time these two teams played, with the Bruins just totally annihilating the Rangers. And if you've got any sort of spine, any sort of pride, any sort of, as a professional, you're supposed to remember a performance like that against a particular opponent and do everything you can to play balls out the next time you see them. That's what the Rangers should be doing. Will they be doing it? Do I trust them to do it? No. So I am on Boston, but like I said, I've curbed the enthusiasm, Larry David style, in terms of just how bullish I am on Boston in this spot. I have to bet them because the Rangers are that bad and it's a terrible spot, but I'm not as high on Boston as I initially was when I first capped the game. Alex, what do you think here? Bruins, Rangers.
Had a sneaky first period overrun with the Rangers. 10-2 their last 12. 7 straight have gone over. Playing a little piece of that small minus 130, but I'm, of course, with a betcast night, going to look to try and hammer that at a better price, closer to pick them in game. I also like both teams to score in the first period. That I will be betting pregame. Plus 158 over at FanDuel. I don't think we're going to see 12 goals again in this matchup, but I do think, like you said, that carries over. That has to carry over at some point. It's not often that you're a professional and you get beat giving up 10 goals, and it's certainly you would remember that, especially against a team that you battled with time and time again, a team in your conference. So I do like goals here early. I know it's not something we usually rely on Rangers to help chipping in scoring goals, especially at home, but I do think in the first period that could happen. So first period, both teams to score pregame. Little piece of that first period over pregame, but I'm going to go heavier in game, looking to try and get that closer to plus money.
There you go. Good numbers from Jonathan. By the way, Jonathan, terrible about your account. It happened to me. I sympathize. That's awful. Hacked.
Yeah, sucks.
Apparently can't get back into it. It's been taken over. It's exactly what happened to my original Appobano account. 20,000 followers down the fucking drain. It was about almost 2 years ago that happened to me. Had to start from scratch at Bobano Bets, the new Twitter account, and 20,000 followers I had at one time.
Yeah.
There on that original account. So that sucks. It's a shitty feeling, but make sure you follow Jonathan at his new account. Okay. His old one has been hacked. It's taken over. So he's at a new account, and it says Jonathan Stewart Davis. He puts his middle name in there on the current account. So just make sure you're aware of that. Yeah. For me, there's 3 goal props I like for the Bruins: Geeky, Minton, and of course, I'm going to come back to Husnadinov as long as he stays on that top line. I know he didn't score last game, and I think I used him as bargain bin Saturday, but nevertheless, as long as he stays with Lindholm and Pasternak, the value is great right now. And there it is, West Coast Hockey. It's the same Twitter handle as his previous account, except with NHL at the end of it this time. So West Coast Hockey NHL. Make sure you follow Jonathan there, his new account, which is him. All right, Perlo, what do you think here, Bruins Rangers?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have pride to have pride. I just don't think they have pride in their team right now.
I said you're supposed to have it.
Yeah, you're supposed to. I just don't think they have. I do like the first period, both teams to score. I think they might come out tough to begin with, but the Bruins do have pride, regardless of it is. They play with a lot of pride, and I think the Bruins are going to win this game. I got Bruins money line. I got a team total over 3. And money line first period and first goal first period, and I have a bargain bin in this game. Prove it to me, I guess. But I mean, how many times the Rangers have been similar kind of spots, maybe not losing 10-2, where you said, well, if anybody has any pride, blah, 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 nothing. So I'm not going to believe it's coming today for this. So I think they kind of mailed it in, to tell you the honest truth. I think they're just a couple guys going to the Olympics. They realize that the organization's switching everything around now, and it's just kind of hard. I don't even blame them, actually. It's just kind of hard to get up when you know there's going to be guys going. The organization changed everything, doesn't like you, basically, is what they're saying. So how do you get up and have a lot of pride for that? Maybe for the fans, you would think, but you got a great coach in Sullivan. He must be just banging his head against the wall every day. Oh, man. But, yeah, I got the Bruins. I still have the Bruins. At that price, I mean, I think the Rangers could be a bottom 4 team right now. So I think you're getting a pretty good price for the Bruins here. So give me the Bruins.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Basically, he got injured against Utah in that home game, Shesterkin. So it's been 8 full games without him. And only twice have they given up less than 4 goals. And they've given up. So basically, they've given up 3+ goals, the Bruins. 3+ goals in every game since the Shesterkin injury. So to Jonathan's point about the Bruin team total, which I think he said is a flat 3, which is good to bet the flat 3 because they haven't given up fewer than 3, the New York Rangers, during this time. But there have been a couple games where they've given up exactly 3. So it's not totally a given they'll get to 4, but, odds are pretty good. So there's an over 3 at like minus 140 or so at Bet Rivers. So keep that in mind. And it's Korpisalo. Is it Korpisalo in net? I didn't even double check the goalies here. Oh, it is. Yes, Korpisalo for the.
Oh, shoot.
He's confirmed. Yeah.
He has been good of late. Yes,
Yeah.
no question. He's been. This is the best stretch I've seen him play in a while for the Bruins. No doubt, he's been strong. 4-0-0, 1.42 goals against, 948 save percentage for Korpisalo. But I am going to take the both teams to score in the first period over, because I just realized too. Reminder looking at the Chris Otto charts, 7 straight first period overs now for the New York Rangers, 10-2 to the first period over in their last 12. So we've got another streaking first period over team, one of many. Even Ottawa, we're going to take Ottawa again. Bumper Stumpers game the next time Ottawa plays. We're not out till we lose 2 with that run. Even though it came to an end, it's still 13-1 for Ottawa to the first period over in their last 4. Seattle, the same thing. We'll take another shot with that. The next Seattle game, we're not out till we lose 2 with that. And like I said, Rangers 10-2 to the first period over, and 7 straight entering tonight.
Yeah, just make a quick note about that with Ottawa. Yeah, that the pace of that game dictates that we still run forward with that trend. Yeah. When we look at these trends, like says various, like I said, this Rangers trend has been kind of a sleepy one, and it's one that I know I haven't been writing on. I haven't been betting a lot of Rangers first period overs at all this year, considering how their offense has sputtered at times. But yeah, Ottawa definitely one where I wouldn't be discouraged by 1 or even 2 losses, honestly, in that run with the way that they've played their pace early in games.
Yeah,
Terry Ray reminded me of something I didn't write down. That Arvidsson over 2.5 shots is also on my card. He's going over like crazy.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, good stuff. As far as there's one more thing. Here's another thing to factor in about, be careful with just jumping off the train after 1 loss with the first period over for Ottawa. Second, the game still went over for the full game. Let's remember that. So the goals came after. You're right. There were a bunch of chances. Stützle had a brilliant chance to get that second goal in the first period, missed it. And let's also factor in the day and the time of the game yesterday. Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, where Sunday unders have been the dominant theme for a large part of the season. So now the next Ottawa game is going to be back to a night game. And obviously, tomorrow on a Tuesday. And so maybe a better chance there, obviously, for that first period over to get back in the win column. But we will explore that tomorrow. All right, let's get to the last game for this Monday slate. Anaheim Ducks, Edmonton Oilers. It's on Monday. It's only on Prime. It's your Anaheim. It's your Amazon Prime. I almost said Anaheim Prime. Amazon Prime Monday night hockey game. It is Edmonton minus 260 home favorites. Total here sitting at 6.5 in this game. I'm going to take Anaheim live. It's a betcast night, so I'm not doing it now because I don't love the price enough right now. But I will. I'm not touching any of these. Like it probably is a high scoring game just because you're going to get for Anaheim Ville Husso tonight. Almost assured. I know it's not confirmed, but bank on Ville Husso starting tonight with Lukáš Dostal getting the start last night against Calgary. So Ville Husso should get the nod here in net for the Anaheim Ducks in this game. There's a stat I didn't know. Terry Ray Vega, that's a hell of a stat. That's worth highlighting. 10-0 over at home versus opponents coming in on a back-to-back. Wow. How about that? Wow. 10-0 to the. I'm going to wait live, though. There's no way I'm taking it at 6.5 minus 140. 7. I mean, there's some 7s out there with this total. So with the betcast, and remember, we're only on for the entirety of the early games. We will be on for the first period, maybe even into the second period of this game.
Right.
So we'll be on early. We'll be able to get, the live first period full game overs live on the betcast for our Patreon members tonight if it starts off slow. So that's going to be my approach here, is just a first period over and a full game over live in game. And I'm also going to wait to get Anaheim to score in the first period at a better price, because I think that's what we're going to see. They'll be running on adrenaline of last night. The big win, they'll come out with a little energy, and then the legs will catch up to them. Second period, third period later in that game. But I like Anaheim to get on the board here in the first period. I think Edmonton's other than the St. Louis game, Edmonton's given up a goal to the opponent in the first period every other game on this homestand so far. So I think Anaheim can get a goal in the opening period. And plus, we're getting to the point now with Edmonton. They're not there yet, but they're not at that minus 300 favorite price to trigger the system. But they're close, at minus 270, and close enough that I think Anaheim can find the back of the net in the first 20 minutes. So right now, the Anaheim first period goal, is minus one. It's as low as minus 150 right now. I'll wait just a little bit in the first period of this game tonight and see if I can get a better price on that during tonight's betcast. Alex, what do you think here, Anaheim, Edmonton?
Yeah, the only things I like pregame here, I do like the draw. I think that's a hell of a price, plus 380. I don't because we're getting obviously an inflated draw number when you have a heavy favorite like Edmonton. I think Anaheim can hang around this game. Like I said, I think they understand this is an important game. You're chasing Edmonton in the standings. This is a draw season spot when you have two teams that are within the division battling for the points. They know if this game's tied 2-2, 3-3, hell, 4-4, whatever, late in the game, you need to secure a point in the standings against the division opponent. So I liking that draw at that big inflated price. And with that, I do lean with Anaheim plus 750 to win in overtime and shootout. You can get that pregame at FanDuel. Usually you don't see that. Usually see plus 500, plus 550. But once again, with an inflated favorite, you're now getting plus 750 on that pregame. So Ducks to win in overtime or shootout pregame along with the draw. And then we can add anything else. Like I said, first 20, 30 minutes of contest I'll be watching in the betcast tonight.
Let's keep in mind, too, how impressive this Anaheim 7-game win streak is on the heels of the 9-game losing streak when you consider and you factor in no Mason McTavish for a couple of games here, no Troy Terry for pretty much most of, if not all these games during the win streak, and same with Leo Carlsson. Like, you have been missing some important pieces here with Anaheim during this win streak, and you're still motoring along and finding ways to win games right now. Speaks to Joel Quenneville, man. Coach Q still got that fastball. Still got that fastball when it comes to NHL head coaching. What do you think here in this one, Perlo, Anaheim, Edmonton?
Well, pregame, this was actually at a 6 at minus 120 in the middle of the night last night when we were doing the show. It's all the way up
Total?
to freaking.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, unbelievable. You can thank Dre for finding that. So I got that. But I can't really make that a best bet or anything.
That must have been a sports book error because consensus line with the total was never, ever at any point over 6 minus 120. That must have been just an error.
It must have been. Yeah, he found it. But like I said, I can't bet that because nobody's going to be able to play it. But in order to get around that, the over, what I would do is bet the over in each period, especially the second. Took it at a 2 last night. It's down to minus 135 now. But both of these teams are crazy good second period scoring teams. So I like the 2 in the second period in this game. As far as the first period, somebody mentioned in the chat, the Oilers have been scoring like a lot in the first period. Like you can go the over 1.5 team total. It would be, I think it's like plus 165. I don't mind it. And I got the Ducks. I like the Ducks to keep rolling here. I don't think they actually really killed themselves against Calgary. Yes, they played well, but I mean, it wasn't a tough game. It was they kind of compacted their system a little bit. They played a possession game, got some shots when they could. When they found their spots, they scored, but they didn't grind it out with Calgary at all. And I think this is the reason why they want to get up for this one. I think the Ducks will be up for this one. So I took them. I took the Ducks. I look at Edmonton too. Like, I think they've had 4 back-to-back. The last 4 games have been off of back-to-backs, and they're 2-2 on that. The other team was on back-to-backs, and they're 2-2 on those. So I think New Jersey was one of them. You lost to New Jersey on a back-to-back. So you're telling me you can't play this heavy, motivated Anaheim team that's kind of on a roll right now? Yeah, give me the Quackers, man. I'll throw that on 220. That's like they're way over. The Oilers are getting
too. It's a very, very tricky spot for Anaheim, and it won't have Dostal. That bothers me a little bit, but I am still tempted. I am at this price. I'm very tempted still at plus 220. So
I still don't trust Jari yet either. You got to show me a little more. I still don't trust him.
That's true. I mean, Jari's not been playing as well for the Oilers the last several games as Skinner has for the Penguins. I mean, we got to start mentioning that. Skinner's outperforming Jari here these last few games. Maybe that's an indictment on the Oiler blue line. Maybe more so than the goaltender. That's something to keep in mind. But as far as props go for this game, I'm always leery of backing someone off a hat trick night. So this might not be the ideal spot to take Seneca props tonight. We'll see. But Kreider scored in back-to-back games. Granlund is certainly someone to consider because he's up there on the top line with Killorn's been noticeable lately. There's a few for Anaheim. For Edmonton, I would say Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Kapanen. Obviously, the Nuge, McDavid, and Hyman. I'm going to go back to the well with Mr. Savoy. Every game he's getting chances. We got robbed of Matt Savoy the last game. He absolutely had a ton of chances to score for Edmonton against Washington. But he had looks, and he's getting those opportunities. So I'm still going to go back to the well with Matt Savoy here for the Edmonton Oilers here in this particular game tonight against the Anaheim Ducks. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. It's a big night for our Patreon members, and I'm going to put it up on the screen now. Missed it earlier. There it is. The Ice Guys, Patreon exclusive, NHL Live Betcast tonight, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We will be on for about 3 hours for the entirety of the early games, and of course, we'll be on for probably the first period and into the second period of the Anaheim-Edmonton game, which starts a little bit later as well. So make sure you join us. Patreon exclusive NHL Live Betcast, the only place to watch it and be part of the stream tonight on camera is as a Patreon member. So get on board, just $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys. Oh, I got to mention this. We have a celebrity fan in our midst, Hannibal Buress. He's a commented comedian, of course, from Chicago, where Alex is. He commented on one of the YouTube videos of our show a week or so ago. He just signed up on Patreon too. I think it's him, unless someone's taken over.
No, it's him. I actually talked with him last night on Instagram. He follows us on Twitter as well. So shout out Hannibal Buress.
That guy is hilarious.
Yes, he
Hannibal
is.
Buress. I have watched pretty much everything he's ever done. I'm a huge stand-up comedian guy.
Yep.
That guy is absolutely hilarious.
A lot of specials he's done. He's been on some of the roasts too. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves the bet too. So it's wonderful.
There you go. Yeah, shout out to him. Hopefully, we're pointing him in the right direction. That's what we're here for. But shout out to him. And shout out to all our Patreon members. We appreciate your membership as well. Patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. And again, be there for the Betcast tonight. We're very excited about it. So make sure you get on board. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it rolling long term. So make sure you check it out. Just $10 per month. Be there for the Betcast tonight. And we have another one later this week too. But be there tonight. Patreon.com/iceguys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We've got caps, we've got hoodies, we've got mugs. One of the hats is sold out, but other than that, we've got just about everything with a whole bunch of different designs and looks. And it's a great time to grab some merch. It's cold as hell everywhere. There's snow everywhere. It's a good time to get a hoodie, get a jacket. We've got all that available right now over at the Ice Guys store. That's, again, iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There you go. Good stuff. Oh, he does some betting content here. I did not know that. So there you go. So yeah, he's definitely obviously into it. So yeah, great stuff. And wizardsportspicks.com. Check it out there. Premium picks, long-term subscriptions. Get on board. #1 in NFL and NHL on the website. So check it out there. Wizardsportspicks.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Praise for yourself with
Kings and Queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis. Check them out, royalcannabisshop.com, 20% off with promo code ICEGUYS. Yeah, that's why we play it every Monday, because people like it, that version of the ad. And every betcast, every Monday and every betcast day, we play that on the show. So I know everyone enjoys it. All right, I know everyone enjoys this bargain bin special of the night every day. So look, a couple nights where it's been dry, but still it's been a very, very good season. Very good last month as well. And there are a few that I like on this card here tonight for bargain bin special. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night.
Yeah, I got two of them for tonight. First, we will go to that Utah-Tampa game, and I know Perlo's all been all over Miguel Sergachev as far as shots goes. I think actually one of them gets in the back of the net tonight against his old team. Anytime goal score for him, plus 750 over at DraftKings. I saw a 7-1 floating around at FanDuel as well. So Miguel Sergachev, anytime goal score, plus 750, bargain bin special number one. Number two comes from that Isles-Flyers game. Go over to another Russian. We're going with Maxim Shabanov. Moving up to that top line from the third line all the way up to the first line. You can get him at FanDuel anytime goal score plus 440. So Sergachev, anytime goal score plus 750. Shabanov, anytime goal score plus 440. Those are my two for Monday night.
Yeah, that's a good one with Shabanov moving up to the top line. There's definitely some great value there on that. Perlo, bargain bin special.
Yeah, I'll go to the Boston Rangers game. I think you could see some penalties in that game. And if we do, Boston's got a pretty good power play and the Rangers don't. And Morgan Geekie has 5 power play points in his last 5 games. So Morgan Geekie for a power play point at plus 330. And I'm going to go to the Islanders game as well, but I'm going to go with the fresh leg not captain, but leader, one of the leaders in that team, with Horvat for over 1.5 points at plus 350.
Good stuff there. Bargain bin special of the night for me. Like I said, there's some good choices, real good opportunities here on this board from a bargain bin standpoint. And I am going to go with 2 here for tonight for the bargain bin special as well. The first one is going to be Lawson Krause, Utah Mammoth. Like the spot on the top line. Also like the fact that he is plus 425, great price considering the spot that he is at in the lineup. So Lawson Krause for the Utah Mammoth, plus 425. And my other bargain bin special, I like the Islanders in this game, but I like the price with someone that scored in back-to-back games. And boy, has he been threatening most times he's been on the ice for Philly, and that's Bobby Brink, double B squared, Bobby Brink for Philadelphia, plus 350 at DraftKings. So there you go. 2 bargain bin specials. Lawson Krause, Utah, plus 425. Bobby Brink, Philadelphia, plus 350 for my 2 bargain bin specials of the night for this Monday. All right, best bets. Alex,
I'm saying Shabanov is plus 950 at MGM. I did not see that there.
Is that so? Let me just double check. Man. Wow. Well, that's definitely not Maxim Shabanov. I'm even seeing 600 at a couple spots, but wow.
Okay.
Yeah, 900. Boy, oh boy.
Please shop around for the best price bill. I would grab a piece of 950 as well. I grabbed 440 at FanDuel, but I'll be adding some 950 on it and making that official too.
I'm going to take it 100%.
That's
plus 950 at MGM. All right, best bet, Alex, for Monday. What do you got?
All right, well, we'll go with that game. Isles and Philly. I do like the Islanders to get off hot. Like I said, Patrick Roy. Not a guy that you want to make mad often, and certainly that team pissed him off a little bit. So I like them to get on the board first. First goal of first period, plus 140 for the Isles. That's my Monday best bet. All right,
Perlo, best bet.
We're on the same thing. I just had the Islanders money line in that game for my. I don't really have a prop that I love them. Oh yes, I do. I'll take Arvidsson over 2.5 shots and Islanders money line is my 2. I always give you one prop. So Arvidsson over 2.5 shots and Islanders money line.
Islanders money line, same for me. New York Islanders plus 105. I like this spot, really do. I think after Patrick Waugh called them out, I think the top players respond. Philly off of a 3-game road trip, not an optimal spot for them. Then they go back on the road. Better goaltender with the Islanders. Sorokin has the edge over Ayerson. So New York Islanders plus 105 for my best bet for this Monday. All right, live betcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, Patreon exclusive to our members of the Patreon page. Make sure you join us. Tune into the betcast. And also, if you are a Patreon member, I forgot to mention this all the while on the show. If you are a Patreon member, obviously you're eligible to join us on the betcast, email me, email Alex, DM us, or of course you could even DM in the on the Patreon page to us, and we'll make sure we get the StreamYard link posted and sent to you right as the betcast gets underway. So if you want to join us on camera, on the stream, during the betcast tonight, make sure you get in contact with us in any of those avenues, email, DM, or through the Patreon page, and we will make sure we send you the StreamYard link for the betcast as it gets underway. And a reminder that Perlo's show late night is going to turn into the Ice Guys betcast post-game show here tonight.
Yes. Yeah, come check me out at Rico and Perlo's house of Jaime's Exotic Picks Frolic. Just had somebody said in the thing, if you're serious about the show, change the channel. First, or change the title. Well, first of all, if you know me, I'm not serious about shit. and secondly, I think
it's a unique name. I'll give him that.
It's fun, and the whole thing is it's fun, and that's the reason why we do it. We don't just bet, and we are successful. We are hit very, very well, but we just have a lot of fun. So that's what it's all about, and that's why the title is that. So yeah, come check us out after the show. And if you want to talk about that more, pay up that. Hopefully you're a Patreon member and you're going to be on tonight, and we could talk about the title of my show and everything else that we're going to talk about, and bank a whole crap load of money with the live bets from these two fellows who are absolutely fantastic.
I don't know if young is accurate, but that's
right.
I
just
can't
do that anymore.
Well, I mean, in comparison to me, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Good stuff, Perlo. Looking forward to tonight. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith and Perlo, I'm Ian Cameron. We'll see you tonight, 7 p.m. for the Patreon exclusive live betcast, and Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern for another edition of the Ice Guys.